When people talk to dogs, it usually feels clear what's happening. Words explain, voices soften to reassure, sentences repeat, as if understanding lives inside the language. From a human perspective, that makes sense. Dogs, however, begin somewhere else. Canine behavior research shows response forms almost immediately, not after a sentence ends or meaning settles. Reaction starts as tone, posture, rhythm, and emotional presence enter the moment. Before a message feels complete, a decision has already formed about whether the situation feels familiar and stable. From a dog's perspective, communication begins earlier than most people realize. Every interaction quietly answers one question: what kind of moment is unfolding, and what usually comes next? Once this is understood, behavior starts to make sense in a different way. If this kind of insight matters to you, consider subscribing. Now let's look at what actually shifts the moment you speak. Your dog doesn't hear conversation, they sense intention. When you talk to your dog, they are not processing sentences the way people do. There is no inner translation happening. Instead, the first thing they register is intent. Before any sound is understood, their body is already assessing what your voice signals. The speed of your speech, the firmness or softness of your tone, and even the pauses between words all carry meaning. To your dog, speaking is not information. It is a cue that something in the environment is shifting. This is why casual talk still gets a response. Even a simple comment said aloud can cause a dog to look up, adjust posture, or move closer. Those reactions are not about understanding language. They are about sensing direction. Your voice tells them whether the moment is calm, transitional, reassuring, or uncertain. In that sense, talking acts like a signal flare. It doesn't explain what will happen, but it alerts them that they should pay attention. Long before words could matter, animals survived by reading intention. Dogs still rely on that system today. To your dog, your voice means something is about to happen. From your dog's perspective, hearing your voice often means change is coming. Not necessarily action, but movement of some kind. When you speak, their nervous system shifts into anticipation mode. This is why dogs often become alert even when you talk casually or to someone else in the room. The sound of your voice marks a moment of transition. It might mean interaction, routine, reassurance, or simply attention. Your dog doesn't need to know which one yet. What matters is that speaking creates expectation. Over time, this pattern becomes familiar. Voice equals possibility. That anticipation is not excitement or anxiety by default. It is readiness. Their body prepares before their mind could ever interpret meaning. This explains why dogs sometimes respond before you finish a sentence, or react to words you never intended as cues. They aren't guessing your message. They are responding to the fact that you spoke at all. For your dog, silence often signals stability. Speaking suggests that the moment is shifting. Why familiar voices feel different than any other sound. Not all voices register the same way to a dog. Familiar voices carry emotional weight that strangers cannot replicate. Your dog doesn't just recognize your voice as a sound. They associate it with repeated experiences, daily routines, predictable interactions, emotional patterns that have played out over time. Because of that history, your voice becomes linked to safety and expectation rather than novelty. When a stranger speaks, the sound may trigger curiosity or caution. When you speak, it triggers recognition. This is why dogs often relax faster when their owner talks, even in unfamiliar places. Repetition matters, but consistency matters more. A voice that sounds similar across many situations becomes grounding. Your dog learns what usually follows, how your presence feels, and what your tone tends to signal. That familiarity allows them to stay regulated instead of alert. Your voice isn't just known, it is trusted because of what it has represented across hundreds of ordinary moments. What your dog feels in their body when you talk. Before your dog reacts outwardly, their body responds internally. Subtle changes happen almost immediately. Breathing adjusts, muscle tension shifts, posture changes slightly, even if it's barely noticeable. These responses occur faster than conscious thought because they are rooted in the nervous system. Calm, steady tones often lead to softer posture and slower breathing. Rushed or strained tones can create tension without any obvious behavior change. This is why emotion reaches the body before understanding could ever take place. Your dog does not need to know what you said to feel how you said it. The body responds first. Thought, if it happens at all, comes later. This physical reaction is not emotional judgment. It is regulation. Your dog's body is trying to match what it senses. When your voice feels settled, their body can settle too. When it feels tight or inconsistent, the body stays alert, waiting for clarity. Quick pause. If this is helping you see your dog differently, consider subscribing for more calm insights like this. When your words don't match your emotional state, dogs are especially sensitive to mismatch. When your words say one thing, but your tone or tension says another, they notice immediately. Saying "it's okay" while your body remains tense creates mixed signals. This does not confuse your dog intellectually, but it does affect how safe the moment feels. They aren't questioning your honesty. They are sensing inconsistency. The reassuring words don't harm trust, but they don't resolve uncertainty either. In those moments, dogs often watch more closely, stay nearby, or hesitate instead of relaxing fully. This response isn't disobedience or anxiety, it's caution. Dogs rely on coherence to regulate their environment. When signals don't line up, they pause. The important part is this doesn't damage the bond. It simply shows that dogs respond more to emotional alignment than verbal reassurance. When tone and state align, your dog understands the moment without needing language at all. How dogs learn what your words usually mean. Dogs do not store words as definitions or concepts. Instead, they store experiences that are consistently paired with certain sounds. Over time, repeated phrases become linked to what usually follows them. A word said before a walk gradually carries the feeling of movement and anticipation. A phrase spoken during calm moments begins to signal slowing down and safety. This process is not language learning in the human sense. It is emotional tagging. Each repetition adds another layer of feeling onto the sound. Eventually, the sound alone is enough to trigger a response because it activates the memory of how previous moments felt. This is why certain phrases hold power for dogs even when they are spoken casually. The words themselves are not instructions. They are reminders. They bring back the body memory of experiences that felt familiar and predictable. Over time, these sounds become shortcuts to known situations. Your dog does not need to analyze what is being said. They respond based on what that sound has historically meant in their world. This is also why new words take longer to register. Without repeated pairing between sound and experience, there is nothing for your dog to attach to. The word remains neutral until emotional context gives it meaning. Consistency matters more than precision. Even if the exact wording changes slightly, similar tones used in similar situations can create the same emotional association. Meaning forms when sound and experience arrive together often enough to feel reliable. Once that link is established, your dog can respond quickly without thinking. The response is driven by familiarity, not understanding, rooted in experiences that have already proven what usually happens next. Why dogs react before you finish speaking? Dogs often respond before you finish a sentence because they are tuned to beginnings rather than endings. The first shift in your tone, the opening sound of your voice, or a change in rhythm is usually enough to trigger a response. Your dog's nervous system reacts quickly because it is designed to detect change early, not wait for full information. Intonation, timing, and energy matter far more than the actual words being used. Once your voice rises, softens, or tightens, your dog has already registered what kind of moment this is likely to be. Waiting for complete language processing would slow their response, so their body adjusts almost immediately. This early reaction helps them stay aligned with what is happening in the present rather than what might happen later. It allows them to prepare, settle, or stay alert depending on how the moment begins. This is why reactions often happen mid-sentence. Your dog isn't interrupting or anticipating incorrectly. They are responding to what they believe is coming, based on patterns formed over time. Repetition teaches them that certain openings usually lead to specific outcomes. Even if the words change, the beginning often sounds familiar. Over time, your dog becomes skilled at predicting what follows based on how you start speaking. The body responds first, adjusting posture, attention, or position before the sentence is finished. By the time you reach the final word, your dog has already aligned themselves with the expected outcome. This process isn't guesswork. It is pattern recognition built through countless ordinary interactions where beginnings reliably signaled what came next. What your dog thinks during quiet talk or whispering. Lower volume changes how your dog interprets a moment almost immediately. Quiet talk and whispering signal calm, contained energy, rather than alertness or urgency. When your voice softens, your dog's body often responds before any visible behavior appears. Muscles relax slightly, breathing slows, and attention narrows. Instead of preparing for action, your dog shifts toward closeness and presence. This is why dogs often lean in, move nearer, or choose to stay close when voices soften. Lower volume suggests that nothing urgent is unfolding. There is no need to watch closely or prepare to move. Environmental pressure decreases, allowing your dog to remain in the moment rather than scanning for cues or change. Whispering does not confuse dogs or reduce understanding. In many cases, it does the opposite. The softness provides reassurance because it feels intentional and controlled. To your dog, quiet speech often suggests focused attention without demand. It communicates that you are present, but not asking for performance or response. That lack of pressure creates space for settling. Your dog doesn't feel compelled to act, react, or wait for direction. They simply remain connected. This is also why proximity increases during soft speech. The moment feels safe enough to close distance without risk. The closeness that follows is not accidental. It is a response to emotional clarity. When your tone is gentle and volume remains low, your dog can align with the moment without effort. There is nothing to resolve or anticipate. Being near feels appropriate. Over time, dogs learn that quiet talk usually accompanies calm situations, making it easier to relax. These moments reinforce the idea that not all speech signals action. Some speech exists simply to maintain connection. Whispering, in that sense, reassures your dog that the environment is stable and that staying close is enough. Quick reminder: if this perspective resonates, subscribe to explore more about how dogs experience everyday moments. How dogs answer without sound. Dogs often respond in ways that don't involve noise, and those responses are rarely random. Positioning is one of the most reliable ways they communicate. Choosing to remain in the room instead of walking away is a response. Settling nearby rather than seeking stimulation elsewhere is a reply. These choices are shaped by how the moment feels, not by habit or coincidence. Your dog is deciding where to place themselves based on emotional cues rather than words. Stillness is especially meaningful. When a dog stays still while you speak, they are often signaling that nothing needs to change. Movement would introduce uncertainty, while stillness maintains stability. This is why dogs sometimes pause activity, lie down, or simply sit quietly when your voice enters the space. They are matching what they sense rather than reacting outwardly. That quiet alignment is the response. Body orientation also matters. A slight turn toward you, a shift closer without physical contact, or choosing a resting spot that keeps you within view all reflect interpretation. These actions show that your dog is engaged without needing to act. They are participating by staying present. The absence of movement does not mean the absence of communication. It often means understanding has already occurred. Dogs rely on quiet responses because they preserve balance. Vocalizing or moving abruptly can disrupt the emotional tone of a moment. By staying close, slowing down, or maintaining proximity, your dog is offering reassurance, readiness, or simple acknowledgement. Presence becomes the message. When you notice these patterns over time, it becomes clear that your dog has been answering you consistently. Sound was never required. The exchange has been happening through positioning, stillness, and shared space all along. What your dog learns about you over time. Over time, dogs do not catalog individual moments the way humans do. Instead, they absorb patterns. Each interaction adds to an internal sense of what it usually feels like to be around you. Your dog learns who you are emotionally by observing how you sound, how you move through space, and how your presence tends to register in ordinary situations. This learning does not require dramatic events. It forms quietly through repetition. What matters most is consistency, not perfection. A dog does not expect steady calm at all times. Occasional stress, distraction, or impatience does not break trust. What shapes belief is the overall range of your responses. When your tone, pace, and emotional signals remain recognizable across many moments, your dog learns what to expect. That predictability allows them to relax into the relationship rather than constantly monitor for change. Over repeated exposure, your voice becomes associated with certain emotional outcomes. For some dogs, it signals reassurance. For others, attentiveness or guidance. In each case, the belief forms before words are processed. The sound itself carries meaning because of what it has consistently represented in the past. This is why dogs often respond in familiar ways before a situation fully unfolds. They are acting on expectation, not instruction. As these beliefs solidify, they guide how your dog approaches new moments. When something unexpected happens, your dog looks to what they already know about you to decide how to respond. If your voice has reliably signaled stability, they remain closer. If it has often marked unpredictability, they may pause or watch more carefully. These responses are not judgments, they are learned alignments. Over time, your dog is not listening to individual words. They are responding to the emotional reputation your presence has built through everyday interactions. What your dog thinks you're asking for, even when you're not. When you speak, your dog often assumes that something is being requested emotionally, even if no instruction or attention was intended. From their perspective, talking is rarely neutral. Speech usually signals engagement, presence, or a shift in the moment. Because of that, your dog listens for what kind of response might be appropriate rather than waiting for a clear command. Sometimes they interpret your voice as a need for reassurance. In those moments, they may move closer, settle beside you, or simply stay within reach. Other times, speaking feels like an invitation to share space, prompting them to watch, follow, or remain alert without acting. Dogs do not separate conversation from connection. Human speech is often experienced as a relational signal, not background noise. Even when words are directed elsewhere, your dog may still feel included in the emotional field of the moment. This is why they sometimes respond to casual talk with attention, proximity, or quiet stillness. They are not confused, and they are not misbehaving. They are responding to what they believe the moment calls for. The response your dog offers is shaped by the tone and emotional quality of your voice. A softer tone may suggest comfort is needed. A steady, familiar tone may suggest simply staying close is enough. A more animated voice may prompt alertness or readiness. None of these reactions are about obedience. They are forms of participation. Your dog is offering what feels emotionally appropriate based on their understanding of you. Over time, these interpretations become more refined. As your dog learns your patterns, they begin to anticipate what usually follows certain tones or speaking moments. They are not trying to please or perform. They are trying to stay aligned. In their world, responding isn't about doing something right. It's about staying connected when a voice enters the space. The surprising truth about talking to your dog. The surprising truth is that your dog doesn't need to understand words in order to understand you. Talking matters because presence matters. When you speak, your voice carries familiarity, intention, and emotional continuity that your dog has learned over time. It reassures their world, not by delivering meaning, but by reinforcing what already feels stable and known. Your dog isn't decoding language or listening for explanations. They're checking alignment. Is this moment steady? Is attention available? Does the environment feel predictable enough to relax within? From your dog's perspective, hearing your voice confirms connection. It signals that you are present, aware, and emotionally engaged with the space you share. Even casual speech maintains that connection. It reminds them that nothing important has shifted without notice. That reassurance happens quietly and automatically, without effort on either side. In that sense, talking to your dog is not communication in the human sense. It is maintenance. It maintains familiarity. It maintains emotional rhythm. It maintains the sense that the world still works the way it usually does when you are nearby. Your dog responds to how your voice fits into the moment, not to what it says. A calm tone suggests things are settled. A familiar cadence suggests continuity. Even neutral speech can signal reassurance simply because it belongs to you. This is why dogs often stay close when you talk, even if nothing is directed at them. They are responding to the emotional signal, not the content. Your voice confirms that the shared space is intact. It tells them they are not alone inside it. Over time, those repeated confirmations become part of how your dog experiences security. Talking doesn't need to be purposeful to matter. Its impact comes from consistency, not intention. Your voice quietly reinforces the bond, simply by being present when it's heard. The bottom line, the story your dog thinks you're telling. When you speak to your dog, you are not explaining the world or trying to be understood in a human way. You are reinforcing a rhythm the two of you already share. Your dog isn't listening for vocabulary or meaning. They are listening for safety, familiarity, and emotional steadiness. Each time you speak, even casually, your voice reassures them that the world around them is still recognizable and connected. Over time, those small moments build a quiet story about who you are and what it feels like to be near you. That story isn't shaped by perfect tone or constant calm. It's shaped by presence, repetition, and emotional consistency. The bond doesn't suddenly appear when you change how you talk or try to communicate better. It has been forming naturally through everyday moments that felt ordinary to you, but meaningful to them. When you notice how your dog settles nearby, responds quietly, or stays close without being asked, you're seeing that story in action. Communication has already been happening without effort or intention. If this perspective helped you recognize those moments more clearly, consider subscribing for more thoughtful insights into how dogs experience connection. Sometimes understanding isn't about learning something new. It's about noticing what's already been there all along.